What's going on, everybody? This is Jon Does, episode 84, and I'm not doing the director board thing today. It's just too much going on. I need an extra set of hands. Well, today is Pat and mine's top 10, but you know what? Pat's not here. I wonder if there's some way we could summon Pat. I don't know. Maybe if we all pray real hard, we can get Pat on here. What do you think? Pat, are you there?
It's a miracle I'm here.
Pat's here. Pat's on the phone. Pat's not feeling well, so.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, what's going on?
I got the non-COVID, but still sick. Sorry, my apologies to the internet world if they hear me breathing through my mouth more than usual, but I'm all plugged up.
I think people are more disappointed. Like more of your OnlyFans crowd is disappointed just because they don't get to see your sexy face.
That's true. Yeah.
Rub their hands through your beard.
Yeah, they know where to locate me.
Yeah, you can find Pat at the police station where he's oftentimes just hanging out because he's just waiting to get arrested again.
I'm looking to pick up those honeys that are just fresh out of the pen.
Fresh out the pen. So you're not feeling too hot, huh? What's going on? Is it like you
just
got the
standard cold? Yeah, no, well, I mean, I thought we said we wouldn't talk about that.
Oh, sorry.
No, just the standard cold stuff. But I've been taking some meds and stuff. I'm getting over the hump here.
Oh, nice. Well, that's good. I mean, as long as this isn't just like you're lying to me, you just wanted to like do the show with no pants on. Because you know what? The camera can only see so far anyway.
Yeah.
So you don't have to.
These days we'll have.
Yeah, we'll do the whole like standard newscast where we're wearing a blazer and shirt but no pants.
That's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it. Well, you know what it is? You know what today is?
December 30th.
Yes, tomorrow is New Year's Eve, which means it's the end of the year, which means wrong one. I don't have a drum roll. I just realized I have just the like comedy drums. I need the like tomorrow is New Year's Eve, which means 2023 is literally just a day away.
It is right around the corner.
And Pat and I have done our top 10 TV shows of 2022 and our top 5 records of 2022. So today we're going to do our top 10 films of 2022. This was a fun one for me. I actually had a hard time because there was a lot of movies that came out this year that were really good. And I do want to just preface this real quick with, at first I was like, there's probably not going to be a lot of stuff because, we're still coming out of the COVID era of film. So like, there was stuff sprinkled in here and there. Productions got shut down for months and months at a time, so there was always going to be a slower period, and I figured 2022 would be that. But 2023 is going to be a stacked year. There's a ton of stuff coming out next year, but there was a lot more than I like really expected for this list. So I actually have 2 honorable mentions. I'll start with those real quick before we get into them, if that's okay with you, Pat.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hear them.
My first honorable mention is Black Panther. It was a good movie. It definitely did not exceed the rest of my list, all the other movies on there, but it was a challenging movie for Marvel to get done, and I think they mostly did a pretty good job with it. And I really liked Namor, the introduction to Namor. So that's my first one, and the other one is Prey, the Predator movie.
Predator prequel?
Yeah, the Predator prequel that came out on Hulu. That movie was awesome. That's the kind of like reboot or prequel or whatever we're doing with franchises these days. I feel like that's a good way to do it, keep it simple, keep it low, a little bit more low budget. And the premise to that was just awesome. Like Native Americans versus the Predator. That was fucking badass. Sorry, I gotta remember to like not cuss so much, because I guess yesterday they just dropped a new thing on YouTube where if you cuss in the first like 15 seconds, they demonetize your video. Not to say that I'm monetized, but that's just a habit I need to. We're 7 minutes into this show and I drop an F-bomb, so whatever. But yeah, it's stupid. So anyways, those are my 2 honorable mentions. Let's just go right into this, because we probably got a lot of stuff to cover today, because Pat and I watched there's some similarities in our list, but there's also quite a bit of difference too. So Pat, let's start with you. What do you got?
Yeah.
What do you got for your number 10?
You were just talking about reboots. I have a reboot here for my number 10. This one is Confess, Fletch, starring Jon Hamm.
Nice.
As Fletch, the previously an investigative reporter.
Mm-hmm.
He's now kind of just freelancing, working as like a private detective. And these movies were pretty popular in the 80s, pretty popular vehicles for Chevy Chase in the 80s. Yeah. Fletch, and then Fletch, the sequel, Fletch Lives.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching these movies with my dad as a kid and really enjoying them. And then also you had that awesome Harold Faltermeyer theme,
mm-hmm.
Which was like kind of the same rehash as Beverly Hills Cop, but a little bit different. And sadly, they didn't come through with an updated version of that. Otherwise, it might have been even higher on my list. But I enjoyed this one. I think Jon Hamm, he's got, we know at this point he has
he's got the chops.
Down.
He's got the chops in all forms.
And I think this just made sense. This casting made sense for sure.
He's done drama. He's done comedy. He hasn't done OnlyFans yet.
That we know of.
I think we would know about that. I got my facial recognition software just scouting the internet for Jon Hamm porn.
Yeah, this one, it just made sense to have Jon Hamm in the titular role, taking over for Chevy Chase, kind of a
that's
similar
a good
style
choice.
Of comedy. Charming.
I'll admit I never saw the original ones. I might have seen parts of them on TV or whatever, but I definitely remember. When you sent me this, I remembered hearing Jon Hamm was doing a Fletch movie. And then you sent me this, and I was like, "Is that the Fletch movie, or is this like a completely different thing?"
It's just some guy named Fletch.
Yeah.
But John Flattery also makes an appearance, who's also hilarious from Mad Men, another Mad Men alumnus.
Yeah, he's great. I always loved his. He has a cameo in I think it's one episode of 30 Rock. Oh, it's great. He plays this crazy dude running for a political office. It's really funny.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So this is a straight comedy, or does this have I
mean, it's like a mystery comedy.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So that's your number 10.
I believe it's streaming on Showtime is where I watched it.
That's a good thing to try to remember. I'm gonna try to do this too. Let's try to remember to throw out where we can find these if we can remember.
Absolutely, yeah, we'll try.
I don't know if I remember my number 10, but I think it's Amazon. I don't know. Anyways, so that's your number 10. You got anything else you want to say about Fletch?
It can be a little goofy, this movie, but I think all in all, it's a good job. He's the character himself is very carefree. He's also a master of impersonating other people.
Okay.
Kind of just bullshitting his way through the movie, but he does a great job. He pulls it off, with the same charisma. Jon Hamm.
Charisma. We should do a full episode where we just talk about Toast of London. Actually, I already did a full episode about Matt Berry. I literally did an episode called Man Crush Matt Berry.
Oh, man, he's a treasure.
Oh, he is an absolute treasure. We'll take him any day. If you want,
we can say that. I think we can both safely say that Matt Berry would have been an upgrade to any of if he was included on any of the films of either on our list.
Any of them. Even my number 10, which is, I'm going to get into it, actually. Are you good with that?
Yeah,
All right.
Let's hear it.
So my number 10 is The Northman. Matt Berry.
Matt Berry would be perfect.
Actually, he could have fit a certain role maybe in there. Did you see this one?
Could have fit as like a king, like a lazy cat king or something.
He's just like he's like a Viking king that's like tired of fighting. He's just like, I just want to listen to music and eat grapes.
Understandable.
Did you see The Northman?
I did not. I missed this one.
It's good. It's good. It's I've seen. I don't think I saw the entirety of The Witch, with Anya Taylor-Joy.
Right, same director, right?
Yeah,
Eggers, is that his name?
Dave. I always do this because I know there's a writer, with the last name Robert. It's Dave Eggers is the writer. Robert Eggers is the director of The Northman. It's Alexander Skarsgård, Nicole Kidman, and then a name I love saying, Claes Bang. Claes Bang. His last name is Bang. That's fucking awesome. Did you catch what was it? I think it was right when COVID hit. There was a Netflix Dracula miniseries that was really good.
Yeah, I watched a little of that.
Yeah, the Claes Bangs is the Claes Bang is the guy that played Dracula in that, and he's in this as well. He doesn't get enough time, to be quite honest, but he's really good in this. He's really good in it. Basically, The Northman is the Hamlet story, set in like old Viking Norse, which, I mean, there's already a lot of the like Danish lore, I think it is, that's built into the Hamlet story. But yeah, this is like a straight Viking version of Hamlet, which is really badass. There's a lot of I keep trying to come up with this term. It's not cerebral because it's not like a heady movie, but there are some very visceral, I guess, moments. Bjork makes an appearance in this movie, which is a really great scene. Willem Dafoe is also in this movie briefly. Come on, Willem Dafoe is the man, right? Oh yeah, sorry, I have IMDb open and I was just looking at the cast list. Ethan Hawke is in this as well. It plays Stellan Skarsgård. Wow, I can't talk today. Stellan Skarsgård's dad.
Ethan Hawke plays Stellan Skarsgård's dad.
Yes, Ethan Hawke. He's actually in 2 movies that are on my list.
Interesting. All right. Ethan Hawke's a great actor.
Yeah. I'm gonna when we get there, I'll mention the other Ethan Hawke movie, and I think you'll do a double take because you'd be like, what? He's in one of the other movies briefly. I think it's on both of our list. But yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy is in this one too. She's great. She's been getting some.
Yeah, I mean, she was phenomenal in Queen's Gambit. I think a lot of people watch that show.
Yeah, that was one that I missed out on. There's actually a couple of things that she's been in that I missed out on. But she's great. She was in The Witch, actually. So this is, I think, her second Robert Eggers movie. But yeah, The Northman was really good. There's some really brutal scenes. There's the finale is really just like beautiful to look at. So I mean, if you know the Hamlet story, it's that, but it's, got much more of a visual style to it, and slightly different culture than the original. And I think it's, probably a couple hundred years before the Hamlet story we know. So anyways, that's my number 10. Pat, what do you?
All right.
What do you got up?
So my number 9.
I'm getting number 9. Sorry.
Yeah, number 9 is this movie that I checked out on Netflix, Apollo 10.5: A Space Age Childhood, and this is from Richard Linklater.
Mm-hmm.
coming off the last few movies. What did he do? That one Boyhood movie with Ethan Hawke, where it
yeah,
he basically followed a kid's life from
for 10 years, something like that.
Yeah, for 10 years. So it shot it over the 10-year, the actual 10 years.
An actual 10-year period, yeah.
Yeah, he's done some ambitious films. I mean, I think the one that we're all familiar with is Dazed and Confused, which I need to rewatch one of these days. I've been needing to. I love that movie.
There's that spiritual sequel to that movie he did a couple years ago, Everybody Wants Some, where it's about a baseball team in the 70s, like a high school or college baseball team.
I haven't heard about that one.
Yeah, there was some random people in that one too that I remember. I think. Oh yeah, no, never mind. I think there's some CW actors or something in there, but I think there was also Tyler Hoechlin, who plays Superman on CW, was in that. That's why I was thinking that. Yeah, and I've heard some pretty good things about that one. Tell me a little bit more about this, because I didn't know about this at all.
Yeah,
and
yeah, I recently found out about it as well. So this looks
like a
rotoscope.
Yeah, this looks like a spiritual sequel to his Scanner Darkly, and
right. Did he have another one called The Waking Life as well?
Yeah.
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 It's the same style, that rotoscope style, which was really cool and pretty unique.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see a whole lot of movies in that style.
Yeah.
And this one, I'm guessing is at least semi-autobiographical, because it takes place. There are a couple stories going on at the same time, but mostly it's just it's Jack Black is the narrator, and he's narrating his childhood, going up to that summer of 1969 with the Apollo moon landing, and it also interstitches a fantastical story about the kid being handpicked by NASA to run a mission before the Apollo 11, because they made the lunar module too small and they needed a child to do it. So, yeah, there's that. But it really goes into depth and tells you just how things were back then in the 60s. And I think that the nostalgia that he invokes, we could all kind of, look back fondly on our youth and just simpler times.
Simpler times calls for simpler pleasures.
Yeah. But yeah, this movie was pretty damn good. I really enjoyed it even more than I thought I would, and
yeah, this was something I maybe I'd heard about it in passing and just completely forgot about it. But when you sent me your list, I was like, what is this? And I pulled up the IMDb and I watched a quick trailer for it. Yeah, it looks really good.
I would have to imagine this is kind of how my dad felt, when he was witnessing the moon landing. Pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, great. So it's Richard Linklater, so it's I mean, what kind of feel is this? The rotoscoping can make it feel, I mean, it is rotoscoping is animated. For anybody not familiar, rotoscoping is they'll film a movie, they'll actually film it, and then they re-render it animated. So you can do things like Waking Life utilized it, where they would do there was a Cadillac scene or something where they're driving in a convertible, an old convertible, and I think they changed the car in the animation, so it was like a boat or something like that, but it's a real car, so you can do cool stuff like that. But yeah, this feels like it could be. I guess when I see things that are animated in this style, it made me lean a little bit more towards this might be a comedy. How much comedy versus drama? There's quite
a bit of comedy.
Okay,
not
you said
a whole
Jack
lot
Black.
Of drama. I think it's more so just the nostalgia aspect, and I really think that this was a very personal movie for Richard Linklater.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think he grew up in Texas.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah, a lot of his stuff takes both. I think Everybody Wants Some and Dazed and Confused both take place in Texas.
Yeah. And then there was that other one that he did, A Scanner Darkly.
Yeah.
The Philip K. Dick adaptation, which was good, but it's also pretty odd too. I love what's his name? Robert Downey Jr. in A Scanner Darkly is pretty good.
Oh, yeah. It's been a while since I've seen that.
Yeah. Robert Downey Jr. and Woody Harrelson. in that one.
It's like that's like True Detective 4 right there.
But yeah, Apollo 10.5. I recommend checking it out. It's on Netflix.
I probably will actually after hearing your review about it, because I'm completely unfamiliar with it. All right, so that's your number 9, right? Yeah, that's your number 9. My number 9 is an animated film that came out in October, and that is Wendell and Wild. This is on Netflix. This is stop motion animated film. This one I knew was going to make my list for a lot of reasons. And the main reason I knew it was going to make my list is because the director of this movie is maybe one of my favorite directors of all time, Henry Selick. He did he did
James and the Giant Peach.
James and the Giant Peach, Nightmare Before Christmas. He also did one of my favorite Brendan Fraser movies, Monkey Bone.
Oh, wow. And I'm just reading this right here. Jordan Peele also co-wrote the screenplay?
Yes, yeah. And both Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele do the voices for Wendell and Wild, who are like these demons, basically, that this girl has. So, real quick summary. This is like the log line here off IMDb. 2 scheming demon brothers, Wendell and Wild, enlist the aid of a 13-year-old Cat Elliott to summon them to the land of the living. So that's essentially the plot. There's a lot of other stuff going on, and it has a jazzy vibe to it. There's some good music in it. And good style. Actually, before we went on air, Pat, you had mentioned something about Babylon, because you and I saw Babylon together, and you were saying it almost made your list based on like the visual and the sound. I would say that's what Wendell and Wild did for me, but they did it a lot better without the 3-hour runtime and the like ending that just made me mad. This is 1 hour and 45 minutes. But yeah, it's stop motion. I love stop motion. This is not my only stop motion film on my list today. What else is there? The voice cast is great. The girl Cat is Lyric Ross. Wendell and Wild are Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key. Angela Bassett does a voice. James Hong, right? I forgot about that. James Hong is an older actor. He was in he's what's his name in Big Trouble? He's Lopan in Big Trouble Little China.
Oh yes. Who also is in another film this year, I believe.
Oh,
that
yes.
might be coming up.
Yes, that's another. I forgot. I completely forgot he was in that one too. I don't know why. Yeah, so he's in two movies that I think is on our lists this year. But Wendell and Wild was a really fun movie. Great. Ving Rhames does a voice. Just looking through here. And David Harwood, who's if anyone's familiar with Supergirl. But yeah, I will probably always watch a Henry Selick movie. The amount of work that they put into this is just amazing. And yeah, I do think this is based off a book. Clay McLeod Chapman is the writer of the book, and Henry Selick and Jordan Peele adapted it. So that's my number 9, Wendell and Wild. Did you get a chance to see this one?
I haven't seen this one, but I'm going to check it out.
Yeah,
based on that review. This is one that I definitely want to check out.
It's good. Yeah, it kind of fell under the radar, I feel like, but if it has a little bit of a Jordan Peele vibe to it, but with a Henry Selick like flourish. It's great.
And probably more appropriate for all ages.
Yeah, a bit more. It's I think it's PG-13, but yeah, a little bit more accessible for kids, I think.
Jordan Peele, others, yeah.
Yeah, which honestly, I haven't seen much, but you know what, dude? I think that's a good tee-up. What do you got?
Going right into another Jordan Peele film. So I have Nope.
Nice.
Jordan Peele's third, I believe his third film.
I think so.
After Get Out and Us, which I enjoyed thoroughly, both of those movies.
Mm-hmm.
Us, surprisingly, a little bit more, I think because I saw it in theaters. And also, like, I just didn't know what to expect. And also, same thing going into Nope. Had no idea what to expect. I knew that maybe it vaguely had something to do with aliens, based on, like, the trailers and stuff. But, yeah, I really don't want to give too much away on this, except for I think that this film ultimately is about showing respect for wild animals.
Nice. I haven't seen the movie, and I got to ask you about this, because this is a theme, I guess, this year with a lot of films. But is there a old Hollywood, like, attachment to this? I'm not saying this correctly. In one of the first trailers for it, because I haven't seen Nope, in one of the first trailers, they talk about how the first motion film was a African-American man riding a horse.
Right. Yes.
So does that come up? It does come up? It's a little bit more part of the story.
Well, yeah. The main I could at least give this part away. So the main characters are what's his name, Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah.
And Keke Palmer, and they play brother and sister, and they're both like heirs to this movie ranch where they like get horses.
Gotcha.
Before movies.
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool.
And so they're both horse traders, and the movie kind of just there's like some mysterious stuff going on, and it starts happening near the ranch. Man, I just really don't know what to say without giving it away too much. But it's terrifying, and also very original. I would say this writing, quite original.
When I went to Universal Studios in September, we did the standard tram ride. We go around and they take you through various like movie sets, and there's like a ride element to it, but like you go through, I don't know, you see the old I always say tequila.
Tequila Mockingbird.
Yeah, Tequila Mockingbird. That's my weed strain. To Kill a Mockingbird, you go through those sets, and you go through like the there's a whole Fast and the Furious ride thing there, and like King Kong and whatnot. And we went through. No, I'm not sure if I doubt they actually filmed much stuff there, but we did. The tram did go through the like Western town thing from Nope. And then they had some like spooky music going on too. It was kind of
nice, yeah. So I would say that this movie combines like elements of horror, comedy, Western. All in all, it's just a good watch that I would recommend, man. I think this one is streaming on Peacock.
On Peacock, okay, cool. I'm gonna have to check that out because I'm gonna be honest here. I have not watched any Jordan Peele movies.
I would start with Get Out. That one, I think, agreed as the best. His first.
Yeah, I've only heard great things about his movies. I just, for some reason, never. I don't know. I'm probably watching like fucking Star Wars for the millionth time or something. Or actually,
but all of his movies have like a nice mix of horror. All three of them so far, horror and comedy. There are definitely some moments to laugh at.
Yeah,
and
I'd say Wendell and Wild has some similar kind of moments.
Nice.
All right, so Nope was your number 8, right? Yeah.
It was, yeah. We're on to your number 8.
All right. Well, my number 8 is the same as your number 7. So let's talk about this as like a group discussion here.
Sure.
My number 8 is Glass Onion. And this was actually going back to a statement I made earlier. This is the second Ethan Hawke movie on my list.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
He has a quick quick cameo in the beginning as like a security guard. It's really funny.
Is he like one of Edward Norton's security?
Yeah, he like just like pats people down. He has like one or two speaking lines, and that's it. It's fucking awesome.
He gives them like that COVID prevention thing or whatever.
Yeah, that's what happens with that. This movie was so much fun. I saw the first one with my family for Christmas because we go to the theater for Christmas, and yeah, we saw the first one. We all pretty much enjoyed the first one quite a bit, and I knew they were going to be doing more. And I guess Rian Johnson, who directed this, has a deal with Netflix, so he's going to be continuing the Knives Out franchise for Netflix for a while, and this one's just as good, I would say. I don't know, it toes the line of, is it better or is it just as good? It's not like it's not a lesser movie than the first one by any means.
No, it definitely has a little bit of a looser feel,
and
that may have to do with the setting. Instead of being in this old timey like rich mansion for the majority of the film, it's on
Greek island.
Greek island,
yeah, and literally like they're aside from the like a couple of security people in the beginning, like that's like everybody in the cast, like they're the only people on the island essentially.
Yeah,
it's cool. Actually, quick little side note. My mom likes to ask me like, well, what's real or what's CG, or like she likes to ask me questions about like movies and stuff like that because I can catch stuff a little bit more. I just have an idea of how some of these things are made, and I was like, oh yeah, that the onion on the big glass onion on top of the mansion is 100% the like. They probably filmed it on like this nice mansion or in a mansion or whatever, and then the glass thing is definitely CG. That property is on Zillow. You can look it up. It's for sale. It's like $45 million or something. Or no, sorry, not 45. $450 million.
Oh, nice.
The entire island, and that glass onion is real. It's really there.
Oh no.
Yeah. And I guess
that's wild.
I guess that line of like, why is your car on the roof? Well, where am I going to drive it? You can't drive on this. I guess that's a true statement, like factual statement about the island as well. Is like, yeah, there's nowhere to drive, but there is like a parking garage on top of the house somewhere.
That's so funny that he has the car up on the top. Edward Norton, I thought, killed it in this role.
Absolutely. Such a great cast. I was just going to get into that. There's so many great people in this movie.
Even Dave Bautista stepped it up. I thought he did a much better job than being pigeonholed in that Drax role.
Or just like I guess Rian Johnson also said something within the last couple of days about Dave Bautista being the best wrestler turned actor. And you know what? I don't disagree with that. He's really,
as much as we love John Cena.
Well, John Cena's great. He's got good comedic timing, and The Rock is a lot of charisma. But like, I've never seen a role where I'm like, The Rock deserves an Oscar, and I could see Dave Bautista going more that route of like taking roles where he can really expand. And I don't necessarily see The Rock doing that so much these days, at least. John Cena, maybe. He's taken on some pretty crazy roles. He did a lot of action star stuff, and then like Trainwreck, and now Peacemaker. Peacemaker is great. I unfortunately think Peacemaker is probably done because of everything that's going on at DC. Yeah, Dave Bautista is really good in this. I do think I really think Dave Bautista like learns and practices his acting skills between movies. Like it seems like it. Cause we've got, Blade Runner 2049, Dune, Guardians of the Galaxy, Glass Onion, and I'm sure there's some other movies I'm missing, but like, even in Blade Runner 2049, he's only got a quick scene, right? It's been he's only in that. There's a fight scene at the beginning. Yeah, and that's pretty good. He's He delivers his lines well. But yeah, this cast for Glass Onion is stacked. Edward Norton, Daniel Craig, Kate Hudson, Dave Bautista, Catherine Hahn, Janelle Monáe.
All right, Catherine Hahn's always a gem.
Yeah, and then I think our favorite, Jessica Henwick.
Yeah, she doesn't get enough screen time.
No, she does not. She does not. And Disney, if you're listening, if you do decide to go back to the Iron Fist well, start with her. She was great.
Also haven't seen her in she was in another movie, another big film this year, The Gray Man.
Oh yeah, she is in that. I totally forgot about that. I watched that.
I haven't seen that one.
I watched that with my my sister and my stepbrother and sister.
I heard that one was enjoyable, like for just a action flick.
A lot of people did enjoy it. I enjoyed it, but not for the same reasons. I enjoyed it because there was some really like blatantly terrible like choices made in the movie. Like, I don't even want to get into it all, but there's
all right. We're still talking about Glass Onion.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of these characters were like, almost like internet-based caricatures. Like Dave Bautista, I could totally see him as like a Joe Rogan type.
Yeah. They're all like people we know in our real lives. Not necessarily know, but like people we see. The Instagram influencer, the tech billionaire, the Joe Rogan-esque type. Just a whole bunch of people that we see regularly in our day-to-day in media and stuff like that. Real quick, I was looking, Ethan Hawke's character name in the IMDb credits for Glass Onion is just Efficient Man.
Perfect.
So good. So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I'm excited to see more. Somebody put, and this isn't the first time you'll hear me say this. Somebody had talked about franchises, and that we live in this age of like, oh my God, there's so many Marvel movies, there's so much Star Wars, there's DC. And there's a couple other auxiliary like franchises like Fast and the Furious, Jurassic Park, stuff like that. I'm really happy that if we do live in this franchise age, we have more franchises instead of just watching the same 5 over and over again, and having a whodunit murder mystery type franchise with Daniel Craig as our main is awesome. I love this so much.
He's so good at just like hamming it up.
Yeah. One of his best roles. Really, he's fun. He's smart. I don't know. Like I really enjoy this character, and I'm excited that it's going to continue, and we'll see at least the third one.
I also thought that Janelle Monáe was very noteworthy on this one. I think she knocked it out of the park.
Agreed. She's fantastic.
She's so good, man. What a talent.
I don't know that I've seen her. I know she's been doing acting, but I don't remember.
Right, she was in like Hidden Figures, which was a big. I think that was like an Oscar contender.
Moonlight, Hidden Figures, Antebellum.
She's done some well received movies.
Yeah, she has 40 credits. Some of these are music video credits. Okay, that makes sense. She was in.
I remember hearing her her first LP. I think I bought like back in 2010. And that would have like some Saul Williams feature. There were like a lot of interesting songs. I really enjoyed that album, and ever since she's just been coming out with hit after hit, and whether it be film or record or whatever. I think she could do it all.
Yeah. I remember listening to her music too, and she was doing a lot of collaboration with oh my gosh. What's that band? Why am I forgetting the name of this? They're really popular. God, I can't remember.
Was it Fun? That band Fun?
No, it was another one that. Oh shit! Who was it?
Anyway, not a big deal, but I feel like she has elevated anything that she's been in, though. Been a part of.
Sorry, this is gonna bother me if I don't find it.
Oh, yeah, don't worry.
No, I need to move past this. My brain won't let me. But yeah, it was one of those like It was kind of like the Flaming Lips, but it was like a more. They're more popular in like the 2010 era. Yeah, fuck, whatever.
Yeah,
Move
no
on.
worries.
Move on. So, what do you? This was your number 7, right?
It was, yeah. We could go into your number 7.
Okay, yeah, good, because now it'll get me off this Janelle Monáe wiki page. It was Of Montreal. She was.
Oh, nice.
She was like doing a lot of stuff with Of Montreal at the time.
I don't know if she was Georgia based, but I know that Of Montreal are from Georgia.
Yeah. Okay, so my number 8 was Glass Onion, and your number 7 was Glass Onion. My number 7. Oh, let me get back on track here with my graphics. Where are they? There they are. My number 7 is The Fabelmans. This was a really sweet movie, I guess. I think there's some things that people are saying they didn't like about it as much, but I originally had this lower on my list. But the more I think about it, the more I do like this movie. What were some of the complaints that I had? I think the biggest complaint I had was, and for somebody who's such an amazing actress, Michelle Williams kind of bugged me in this movie. Her choices and how she's very over theatrical. She definitely came off like an actress of the time period this movie takes place in. I think it's like 1964 or 5 or something like that. And yeah, this is it's a telling of Steven Spielberg. Basically, the main kid in the movie is, his name's Sammy, but Sammy Fabelman, but it's Steven Spielberg, basically the movie. The Steven Spielberg, The Way of Water. Let's see. Paul Dano is the father, and Michelle Williams is the mother. And I wasn't familiar with the actor who plays the teenage version. Gabriel LaBelle is his name, that plays Sammy Fabelman. I'm not familiar with this kid at all. I think he's the only thing that I can recognize here is he's in an episode of iZombie. Brand New Cherry Flavor. I never saw that either, but I remember hearing about that. Yeah, he doesn't have very many. He has 8 credits on his IMDb. But yeah, he was great. He was really great in it. Another complaint I have about this, and I don't want to make this about complaints about the movie because this is our favorite movies of the year, but there are a couple of things, like there are some kind of quick storylines. There's a whole anti-Semitic story arc that happens kind of just randomly in the middle of the movie, and it felt not out of place but rushed. I felt like you could have done a little bit more with it. But overall, this movie really kind of inspired me a little bit more on the filmmaking aspect of things. They get into, his dad's like an electrical engineer, and his mom's a artist. She's like a concert pianist, and the conflict is really the relationship with the parents, and the relationship of the parents. In terms of this kid Sammy, is you have the arts versus sciences, and it's really interesting to see how like things play out. Like there's a moment, not to spoil too much, but there's a moment where Sammy airs shows one of his videos to his movies to his Boy Scout troop who helped him make this, and it's a Western. And, he's got the fake guns and stuff like that where people are shooting and whatnot. And as he played it, to everybody, there was like flashes. There was like muzzle flashes and stuff like that, and people were like tripping out. They were like, "How did you do that?" Because we used fake guns and stuff like that. And then he's talking to his dad a little bit later, because his dad was like, "How did you do that?" You know, like, I'm an electrical engineer and I'm this like smart guy who I guess in real life was part of the development team that created what would become later on the first like personal computers.
Wow.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So that's the kind of like science versus art you get. And yeah, in this scene, it's like, he's like, "Oh, all I did was poke holes in the like muzzle tips of the guns on the film. So when the light goes behind it, it's a flash." And I was like, "That's fucking brilliant."
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
amazing and so simple. Like, he didn't have to do anything but use a needle on the film, and he got like a desired effect. So it was really inspiring to me. And there's a couple other great scenes towards the end. There's a scene with John Ford, which was amazing. But yeah, this was a movie I kind of thought would be lower on my list, but it kind of, as I started thinking about my list, it started creeping its way up. And one more standout. There's like, Judd Hirsch is in this movie for like 5-10 minutes, and it's some of the best acting he's probably ever done. And if he does not get a like supporting actor nomination for this, I might lose my shit. He's so good as Uncle Boris. But yeah, so that's my number 7. That's The Fabelmans. What do you got up next, Pat?
Up next, I have a movie that is quite a bit different from the others. I think maybe on both of our lists.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 2022 version of All Quiet on the Western Front. And this movie was a difficult watch, but man, I am so glad I did. I initially turned this on. I didn't know that it was in German.
Mm-hmm.
I put this on because I had heard good things and wanted to check it out. What struck me initially is just how visually stunning this film was. It was like, I can't even really do it justice with words. It is just beautiful, but that beautiful cinematography gives way to the horrors of war. And let me tell you, this movie, more so than maybe any other war film I've ever seen, is just brutal and harrowing in a way that definitely have not seen in a long time. I mean, I don't think I ever saw Saving Private Ryan in theaters. Mm-hmm. I know that was a difficult experience for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe something similar to that. But man, it is just brutal. So this one follows, I think he's 17 at the beginning of the movie. A guy, Paul, who's pretty pumped up to join the ranks and get out in there in the trenches until he actually ends up in the trenches, which does not get off to a good start. Right away.
It sounds like there's a little bit of like the what we dealt with in during World War II here was the like propaganda of like, you're gonna go fight for your country and you're gonna win all these wars, and then like absolutely. You see the horror of it actually play out.
And then supporting roles in this, the main actors did great. And again, I'm not really too familiar with them because they are all German actors.
Mm-hmm.
But just great stuff from them. And then supporting role, we have Daniel Bruhl.
Oh, fantastic!
Who's always good.
Yeah, his scenes in Falcon Winter Soldier are some of the best.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that. That movie, that show got Marvel didn't do that show justice.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
that was
COVID.
Thing. Yeah.
But this one, man, probably could have been even higher on my list, just based on the filmmaking and the storytelling and just how you feel like you're there in the trenches with these kids. Man, is it brutal.
So in the last couple of days, I started watching these like historian breaks down historical battles from Hollywood movies and stuff like that. And this one popped up in one of them, I think last night. Yeah, they show a lot of how the trench warfare was super crazy, and
it was
like,
basically just chaos.
Yeah.
Like, just get out there and start running.
Yeah.
You know, and if you see somebody wearing a uniform that you don't recognize, just kill them any way you can.
Basically,
kind of just every man for himself.
But they were just waiting for Wonder Woman to show up. You know, that one scene from the first Wonder Woman movie in the No Man's Land era. They were just waiting for that. She was like 20 minutes after this movie happened. Wonder Woman.
It takes place like at the end of the war too, which makes it even more tragic. And at the end, again, don't want to give too much away, but oh man, there's this scene with tanks, like where come out of the trench, and they're making some progress, and then you just see these tanks coming in slow motion.
That was one scene they weren't full scenes, they were like shots and stuff like that, and that was one shot I was like, oh damn, that looks crazy.
But I recommend this one to anybody, not only from the historical standpoint, but also just for like a filmmaker, anybody that's interested in filmmaking, because this movie is gorgeous. As sick as, you know, war is, and as tough of a watch, it's worth it. This director, I haven't heard of him, but I will be checking out any other films that he puts out. Edward Berger is his name.
Edward Berger.
Berger.
Nice. So, All Quiet on the Western Front. That is your number.
And that is on Netflix.
That's your number 6. That's your number 6.
That is my number 6. Probably could have been even higher. But there were some good ones that we have yet to get to in the top 5.
Yeah, I think we switched. Anyways, okay, so my number, where are we at? My number 6. My number 6 is a little movie that is also on Netflix. It came out this year. This is my second stop-motion animation movie of the year, and that's the Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. This was much different than I expected out of a Pinocchio animated film. But this might be the best version of Pinocchio I've ever seen. I know a lot of people, myself included, are even, when I think of Pinocchio, I think of the, what was it, the 50s Disney.
Oh, absolutely, the Disney movie.
This one is very different, partly because, Pinocchio, I believe, is in the public domain. So you can do Pinocchio, but what you can't do is you can't do like the Disney version of Pinocchio, so like music and stuff like that. So they have their own music that they created for this, which is really good. There was a couple of moments where the kid who does the voice of Pinocchio singing was kind of annoying a little bit, but the beauty of this movie and everything going on around it was more. I was more immersed in all that than everything else. And so this movie, it takes place during. It takes place in Italy in the 40s during World War II. So there's already this more of a tragic backdrop to the whole thing. And there is a little bit more reason why Geppetto made Pinocchio to begin with.
And I'm just looking at the actor at the cast right now. The actor that played Geppetto
David Bradley
from Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah, he was Walder Frey. Yeah, and then he's also in the Harry Potter movies too. He was the I forget his name, but he's the groundskeeper that has the cat. Oh, you didn't see those, right. Did you? Oh no.
Oh, I've seen some. Yeah.
It's the Lord of the Rings you hadn't watched, right? Am I right? You haven't watched.
Yeah, but what an amazing cast on this.
Yeah, it's really good.
Pinocchio film.
Ewan McGregor is the Cricket. He's not Jiminy Cricket. He's got a different name in this. Ron Perlman, Finn Wolfhard, Tim Blake Nelson, Christoph Waltz, Cate Blanchett, John Turturro, Bern Gorman, who I don't think a lot of people know. He was also in Game of Thrones too. when you say like, oh, there was an actor from Game of Thrones. There's so many people in Game of Thrones now that it's like, well, who the fuck was he? Burn Gorman, you might know, Pat, because you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia sometimes. Did you see the episode where Charlie like goes under like a science experiment, and there's these two scientists making him think that he's like intelligent, and it's a whole placebo effect?
I think I might have missed this one, but it sounds incredible.
It's probably like season 9 or 10 or something like that.
Okay, yeah, I think I missed that one.
Yeah, it's a good episode. I think it's called Flowers for Charlie. I think that's what the episode's called. Yeah, Burn Gorman's one of the two scientists in that one. Anyways, totally off. Tilda Swinton is in this. Yeah, an amazing voice cast. And again, it takes place during like World War II Italy, so there's a very fascist thing going on in the background, which is interesting. But just a really heartfelt and beautiful movie. Guillermo del Toro did a really good job doing the stop motion in this one.
He always does.
And I think I heard this took him like 10 years to make or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, something like that. And this is on Netflix, so if you get a chance, you should go watch the Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. It's just a fantastic movie. So that is we did jump
number
around.
6.
Yeah, that's my number 6. Okay, what do you got? Yeah, we did jump around on accident. Not jump around, but when we did the glass onion thing, we just switched roles.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that was my number 6. What's your number 5?
Number 5 is a movie that seems kind of dumb on the surface, but I enjoyed this one thoroughly. Bullet Train.
Nice.
Yeah. So, movie about some assassins that are on a bullet train in Japan. They're going after like a high value target. I mean, I think a couple of them have different reasons for being on this train, but they ultimately all meet. And we have a great cast in this one with Brad Pitt, who's always good. Also, Aaron Taylor Johnson. We got Paperboy himself.
Brian Tyree Henry.
Brian Tyree Henry, who's pops up in movies that you wouldn't expect, and he's always good.
He's in the MCU, man.
He's great.
People forget that, but he's one of the Eternals in the MCU.
But this movie is just a riot from beginning to end.
Yeah, it looks fun.
It's almost like a video game, dude. Michael Shannon pops up.
Hell yeah!
A cameo from Bad Bunny.
I remember hearing he was in it.
Zazie Beetz is in it for a minute.
Nice. She's great.
She is. Just a lot. So great cast. Fun movie, dude. Like cartoonishly violent.
So it's a pseudo,
as you could imagine,
Atlanta sequel series.
Not quite.
I know. Yeah, this looked really fun. I've heard a lot of people talking about it. I just never got around to seeing it because it did come out on on Netflix?
I think it was released in theaters initially.
It was, but I think it just got to streaming recently, like pretty recently.
Yes, it is on Netflix now.
Okay, that's where I saw
it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but after watching this one, dude, I gotta say, Aaron Taylor Johnson as the next James Bond, I can see it.
I'm still not there yet, but I don't like out of a massive conversation of who should be James Bond. I'm not sold, but I'm not a hard no on him. I should probably watch Bullet Train to get a little better idea.
Yeah, you should watch the movie just because I think it's a really enjoyable film. I think that you would enjoy it a lot. Also, some Japanese actors popped up. One that I haven't seen in a long time, Matsuoka from Heroes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Heroes. I liked the first season of that quite a bit.
I think a lot of us did.
Yeah. And then that writer's strike happened, and it destroyed that show.
Yeah, I never really recovered from that.
That was one of the shows that was like a big time show that got really like ridiculously destroyed by that writer's strike.
Who was the one guy in Heroes? He was one of the main guys. I did not like that guy for whatever reason.
Oh, Peter Pacelli, I think was the character. Yeah.
He I've seen him in.
Yeah, he's in. Oh man, there's a big show.
He's in This Is Us, which is like a crazy popular show.
That's the show I was thinking of. He also played
Milo Ventimiglia.
Yeah, Milo Ventimiglia. He also played Rocky's son in like Rocky 5.
And in Creed. In Creed 2, it looks like he's in there.
Oh, he's in that? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it Rocky 5? I don't know. I don't know the Rocky franchise, but he's in the like.
That guy just bothered me in Heroes.
You know what? I liked him in the show, but I also had a little bit of a thing of like, dude, why are you talking out of the side of your mouth all the time?
But I have to say, like, as I've seen him in other things, I've actually seen some episodes of This Is Us, not by choice or anything, but well, kind of. I mean, I didn't have to watch it, and he did a great job. This guy is like, he definitely stepped up his acting.
Yeah. I've heard some other people talking about This Is Us and some of the other stuff that he's been in. He's not in Bullet Train though, right?
He's not in Bullet Train, no, but Masaoka is.
Okay. So
I can't really say there's not really too much I can say about Bullet Train because it's just like a fun romp. You've got a bunch of assassins on a bullet train in Japan.
That sounds.
You don't really need much else.
No, that sounds like the perfect like setup for a really fun action movie, which it sounds like this is. So I'm gonna have to
there's
check
some
it out.
surprises along the way for sure.
I'm gonna have to check it out. You got a couple here that I'm probably gonna watch. Definitely Apollo 10.5 and probably Bullet Train for sure. All right, so that's your number 5, right?
Yeah.
So my number 5. This is where we're starting to get into overlapping territory, I think. My number 5 is a movie that a lot of people are talking about. And that is Everything Everywhere All at Once. This movie was really unique, and really, it had a lot of heart to it. Had a really good, story. I went to the movies and to see this with my mom, and we were talking about it afterwards, and it as crazy as like, you know, the movie gets, and there's a lot of weird multiversal stuff that happens. The story is really about a mother and daughter. Well, not specific. It's about a family. And the mother-daughter storyline is really like prominent part of the whole movie, and also the relationship with Michelle Yeoh and her husband, who is forgive me, I don't know if I Kehu Kwan, who played the husband, who most of us know from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom or the Goonies. Took a long break from acting.
I had to do a double take when I saw him. I was like, man, is that him?
Yeah, totally.
And sure enough, yeah.
Took a long break from acting, and he's back now. Though this is the other movie that I brought up that had James Hong.
Yeah, he's so good awesome. As Lopan. It's one of my favorite movies.
Mine too. I love that shit so much. God, I'm gonna rewatch that probably tonight.
Yeah. I could watch that movie anytime. I could just show up like halfway through and I'd be in. Like I'm not gonna stop watching that. Big Trouble in Little China.
When I was in this was a handful of years ago. I played a show 2 nights in a row. I played at this I guess little underground theater in San Francisco, and I was staying at my friend Brandon's boyfriend's house, and at the time, and we started watching Big Trouble in Little China, and I think Brandon was like at work or something, and then he comes back from work, and we're like 45 minutes into the movie already, and he's like, "What are you guys watching?" We're like, "Big Trouble in Little China." And he's like, "Oh, that sucks." We're like, "We'll start it over." So we just in the middle of the movie started it like right over. It was great. The movie's amazing, but Everything Everywhere All at Once is really, really entertaining movie. There's some really silly things that they do in this movie that I don't want to give away. And also, if I started to describe them on YouTube, I might get, demonetized.
Possibly.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I did not expect this movie to do.
Movie is out there.
Yeah, and it came out around the time, I think it was somewhere in between Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange 2. And with all the like multiversal stuff going on in the big comic book franchises, this movie did it better than all of them. Yeah, I don't know. Jamie Lee Curtis is weird in this movie too. She's like very terrifying in some parts of it.
Agreed.
Which is a weird thing to say about Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, terrifying is hardly ever in the same sentence as Jamie Lee Curtis. I forgot Jenny Slate was in this too.
Oh yeah, she pops up in a couple scenes.
Yeah,
that are good.
Yeah,
Mona Lisa Saperstein.
Yeah, I forgot about it too. But she also pops up in Venom, in the first Venom movie, in like a handful of scenes. She's like a random scientist that's trying to help out. And then I think she dies. I don't remember. Anyways, Jenny Slate deserves better. So let's see. Where was I? That's my number 5. Okay, yeah, that's my number 5. I'm gonna keep it short on that just so we can get through these a little faster, but I know you got probably stuff you're gonna say about it here in just a minute. But let's go to your number 4, which is
number 4 is a movie that I ended up seeing twice in the theater this year.
Yes.
With you both times. But The Batman.
Ooh.
For Matt Reeves.
This is a good one.
There is just something in the way.
There's definitely something in the way.
Loved this one. I've heard complaints from people that it was a little boring. And like, yeah, I get it. Maybe it wasn't what you're expecting from Batman, but you got to temper your expectations here. Like, this is I can say that this is probably like a more adult feeling Batman.
Yes, and I think,
and also like the grittiness and the realism, I think shines through in this one as well.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna hold off on saying too much so I can talk about it when I get there, because the Batman's on my list too. But they took like a speaking in terms of directors, they took a David Lynch, sorry, not David Lynch. Who's the other? Oh my gosh. I'm totally blanking right now. Fuck. Anyways, yeah, they did take like a more dramatic approach, and I do think boring is not the right word for me with this movie.
No, not for me
but
either.
There's maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes.
It is a little. I can see that people would think that it's a little slow in parts.
Yeah, I think it is a little slow at parts, and probably could get. Sorry, David Fincher is who I was thinking. Not Lynch.
Yeah,
it's a very David Lyncher. David Fincher.
Yeah. It's a David Lyncher for sure.
I cannot talk today.
Yeah, it is definitely like has a similar feel to something like Seven.
Yes, it definitely does. Another Paul Dano film on my list. The Riddler.
Yeah, Paul, what a year he had.
And you know, I don't think any of Colin Farrell's other movies landed on our list, like The Banshees of Inisherin, which a lot of people are talking about. But his run as the Penguin is phenomenal. it is the best Penguin I've ever seen, and
he's pretty much unrecognizable in this role.
I had no idea. I remember when the set photos first came out, and they're like, "This is Colin Farrell," and I was like, "What the fuck? You gotta be kidding
really?
me! There's no way that's Colin Farrell." That car chase scene with him is so awesome.
Yeah, there you go, dude. Best supporting actor nomination in my opinion. One.
Yeah.
For this one.
I don't disagree.
I've seen Colin Farrell in some bad movies too, and this was not one of them.
Alexander. No, you know, I it's been a really long time since I've seen Alexander, and I kind of want to rewatch it. Like I was telling you, I've been watching those YouTube like historians breaking down like historic battles, and across the board, everybody hates that movie. But I guess the like one or two of the big battle scenes they did were like really historically accurate, or as close to as Hollywood does.
That's not bad, but yeah, Robert Pattinson pulling off the Batman role pretty well.
The Battinson.
Yeah, and he played Batman. This wasn't like the schmoozy Bruce Wayne type. This was Batman.
Yeah.
Full stop. Batman. Oh man, he's just moody and angsty. And then you got Andy Serkis as like probably the most badass Alfred we've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, for a 3-hour movie, we didn't get enough Andy Serkis in this.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, he's so good in Andor.
Oh my god, yes. Fuck. All right, well, I'm gonna move on because we're gonna get back to the Batman here in a minute anyway.
Yeah.
So that was your number 4. My number 4 is also on your list, a little higher. But that is, there are 2 movies this year that are some of the most memorable and, in my opinion, best theater experiences ever. And my number 4 is Top Gun Maverick.
Yes.
This movie was so awesome. I'm not even a terribly big fan of the original. Like, I've seen it. It's fine. I was never one of those kids that's like mimicking or like I was never like quoting or like mimicking the like volleyball scene or anything like that. Like, it just wasn't my thing. It was fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't like it. Like, it was not my favorite, but I didn't like dislike it or anything like that. This movie is a theater experience, and man, Tom Cruise is I probably don't agree with him as a person on a lot of things, and maybe, I don't know, maybe we wouldn't get along, but I think what he's been doing in film for the last like 5 to 10 years is pretty impressive, and I gotta give the dude a lot of respect for, Top Gun Maverick was like, I think, the first movie to make over $1 billion post-COVID. And it made it relatively quick too. Not as quick as another one we're going to talk about later. But the jet scenes they really were flying in these jets. They were Tom Cruise got the Navy to take the crew up and fly them around. They all got like flight training, and the sound design is some of the best I've ever heard.
I agree with that for sure.
It's such an intense movie. It's so much fun. Sometimes it's very much like a perfect sequel to not that like a sequel has to be perfect, but in terms of like what the first movie was, this is a really perfect follow-up to it, especially because it's like years later. You get like a really emotional moment regarding the Iceman story arc. You got what's her name, Penny, who actually was mentioned in the first movie.
Yeah, she wasn't. Jennifer Connelly's character was not in the first one, but
no, she's mentioned as like somebody that Tom Cruise maybe accidentally slept with. I don't know how you accidentally sleep with somebody, but like it was she's just like a one line passing like, oh, we hooked up with Penny, what's her name, so and so's daughter, and like so she's technically in the first movie, but she's not like present. But yeah, just such a great movie too, and it was thinking about like air, warfare against another country. They did keep it vaguely ambiguous. Like they were definitely fighting like Russians, right? It was Russia.
you gotta assume so, yeah.
But it was never like explicitly said like this is Russia. There was always just like we've got a military drill that we've got to handle. And just cinematography, sound design, some of the best parts of this movie. So I'm gonna move along because we'll talk about that again. That was my number 4, and you've got a number 3 coming up, right?
I do, yeah. My number 3 was the same as I can't remember. Was it your number 5 or 6?
5, yeah.
Your number 5. So Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. This movie was just so out there and so unique and original in the writing, and I have to give it its due. Directed by 2 guys, right? 2 guys named Daniel that go by the Daniels. Dude, this movie, it's like a bizarro Matrix in a way.
Yeah, that's a fun way to put it.
Yeah, and it's so much fun and just so entertaining. I kind of had like similar feelings as like Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah,
the movie is just out there.
Yeah,
it's even more out there than Scott Pilgrim, though.
Absolutely.
Too. As much as I love that movie, but this one, so much fun, and all the weird like meta kind of stuff to do with it, just everything. And it was, I don't know, I can't say enough good about this movie.
Yeah,
and you got Short Round popping up as an adult, and he's like badass too in this one. And then Lopan as the dad, James Hong.
Yeah.
And we've already touched on that, but that was awesome to see too.
I was just thinking, actually, the daughter was really great too, and I've seen her in a couple of things. I feel
like I've seen her in more stuff too. I looked at her credits and I couldn't figure out where she looked so familiar from.
She's in Shang-Chi.
She is, as one of the friends, right?
Yeah, in the very beginning and then at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she killed it too in this one.
Stuff, but yeah, she was really great in this movie. Stephanie something. Sorry, I closed my IMDb
Stephanie
page.
I think it's like Stephanie Shu.
Yeah.
HSU.
Yeah.
What else can we say about this one? You already touched on Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
And how threatening she is. At first, she was almost unrecognizable.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have her looking very frumpy.
Yeah.
As the IRS auditor.
Yeah, they do. There's some of those like slow-mo scenes with the hot dog hands. It's so funny. The whole cast is great. Just such a unique movie.
The movie has martial arts and
it had everything.
Comedy left and right.
Romance. Tragedy. Did you stay for the post-credit scene where it sets up like the 9 movies that they're going to make after this?
I don't think I did.
I'm just kidding. I don't think there is one. It's refreshing too. I mean, we both have a few movies here that don't fit into the like franchise mold by any means, but it's also nice to go to a movie where you're like, the credits rolled. I don't feel obligated to have to sit here because it's going to set up what's coming next. This was just a one-off beautiful movie unto itself.
Yes, it was. What an experience. This is one that I wish I saw in the theater that I didn't.
Yeah, it was good. It was good in the theater. I did enjoy it. I do like to support the theaters and the theater going experience, but I do think there are only two movies that like were must see in the theaters. I already talked about one of them, and do you want to talk about it again? Because I think it's up next for you. Oh wait,
I think
no.
so. What are we on? You're number 3?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Sorry, we're on my number 3. I was trying to segue into another one, but yeah, that would be skipping me, and I would be sad if we skipped me. This is another one we already talked about. My number 3 is the Batman. Just a new take on a character we're familiar with. Like I was mentioning, it's more of the David Fincher Batman than it is the Tim Burton Batman. And the complaint about it being so different, well, what did you want? Did you want like the Christian Bale Batman again? Well, we've got 3 of those. Did you want to see like the rehashing of the Tim Burton Batman universe? Why? Why?
Agree.
Why would we do that to ourselves? This was the only real way to go, unless we, as I've pitched this before. I think I did a whole episode where I pitched going full circle back to the Adam West style Batman with John Hamm. You've heard me bitch about this for a while. I like, if you're not gonna go like a new take, and you follow these like circular patterns that Hollywood does sometimes, we're about due for the remake of the Adam West Batman franchise. Maybe James Gunn's involved. I don't know. But yeah, again, we talked about the cast. Robert Pattinson was fantastic. I remember being slightly like, Robert Pattinson's gonna be Batman? What? And then like 10 minutes later, I thought about it, and I was like, no, this dude's really great. He's been making some really good like acting choices.
Right, he was in that other, I think, what is his name, Robert Eggers, the North Mid director. He also did
The Lighthouse.
What was that movie with him? Lighthouse, Lighthouse, right, with him and Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, which that one I haven't seen either. But I heard that one's great.
Nor have I, but it looked weird.
Yeah, my thing with that is I didn't see it because I think I remember somebody saying like it takes place only in the lighthouse, like the entire movie takes place in the lighthouse, and I get a little bit of like claustrophobia anxiety when they're like bottle episodes of TV shows where like they don't go anywhere or do anything. It's like just the character, like that kind of bothers me a little bit.
And I think that this one is like 2 people going insane as well.
Yes, and it's a whole like mental like breakdown of living in solitude.
Those could be difficult to watch.
Yeah, and I've actually done that. I did live in solitude for like 6 months in the woods, so I think I've accomplished that in real life. I don't need to watch The Lighthouse, but I mean, maybe I will one of these days, just because I hear it's good. But the Batman was really fun. We're getting more. We're getting a second one, even though there's stuff going on in the DC universe, a retooling of everything. Maybe I
don't think this one really needs to be included. You know, you can keep this one separate from the rest of the DC universe.
I don't disagree with that, but I do think like I've heard people say like you can't do this Batman with like Henry Cavill Superman. Yeah, probably not. But we also know we're not getting Henry Cavill Superman again. So they're going to do a new take on Superman with somebody maybe younger. And I do think there are ways that they can make the Matt Reeves Batman work in a like a connected universe. I do think there are ways that you can do it. I don't need it. And if they were to announce tomorrow that, you know, they've got a new actor cast for Batman, and he's going to be leading this franchise, or the DCU, you know, mainline Superman, Batman, Flash, Wonder Woman, that would be completely fine. And I would be sad if they didn't do any more Matt Reeves stuff, because there is a Batman 2 coming, and there is the Colin Farrell Penguin HBO Max series that they've been working on for a while. So we are supposed to be getting more. I just hope it doesn't get cut off here because of what's going on with DC. I'll move on, though, because there's a lot. Oh, man, I need to check my camera. Yeah, we're getting close to the end of the battery life, and we still got a couple to go. So, yeah, that's my number 3. What do you got for your number 3, Pat? Oh, wait, no, sorry.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Yeah, number 2 was your number 4, which is, and I'm guessing that our number 1 might align here if the stars are right. But close. Anyway, number 2 for me is Top Gun Maverick.
Great movie.
And yes, I enjoyed this one so much. Like you got this. This is what I was talking about earlier with Fletch not bringing back that Harold Faltermeyer theme. Top Gun did it. They did it well. I think they also brought in Lady Gaga to add like some additional stuff on top of it.
Yeah, she does like the end credit song.
She does a good job at the end. I believe there's like that Lady Gaga song.
Yeah, that actually sounded very like 80s Top Gun too, like the song that she did.
Right, like that Berlin.
Yeah.
Take my breath away. Oh my god, man! This one, I grew up watching this movie like nonstop. I think I even had a point in time where I was like, "Do we need a Top Gun week every year where we just watch nothing but Top Gun?" My dad would turn this on anytime it was on TV. We'd be watching this. And he's already quoting scenes from Top Gun Maverick. I was just at his house last week.
Nice.
So, it's already captured his entertainment, almost to the point of the original, I think, at this point. He was telling me that the Bronco that Miles Teller drives in the movie, he's seen at his at the golf club where he works.
Oh, interesting. So
and Miles Teller is, I think that they either gave it to him or it was just his Bronco.
That'd be funny if it was just his Bronco.
It might have been, just his like restored Bronco that he wanted to use in the movie. I don't think that's that far off from that could easily be correct.
This movie, Top Gun Maverick, made me want to. So, was it last year or earlier in the year? Something Patty Jenkins was. Disney even put out a whole video of her talking about how she was going to do a Rogue Squadron movie for Star Wars, basically just like an X-wing movie. And I don't think it's happening now. I don't know what's going on with Star Wars, but after watching Top Gun Maverick, I was like, that's what they should do for Star Wars, is make Top Gun Maverick, but with X-Wings.
That sounds like such a good premise. Can we please get that?
Oh, man. And let's even to save the character, let's get Oscar Isaacs in to get the Poe.
Give him his screen time. And maybe Jessica Henwick as well.
Oh, yes, please. I forgot she was an X-Wing pilot, but she totally was. Let's go. Oh, man. So, such an awesome movie.
Oh, man. This movie is just so much. Some of the scenes, I couldn't even believe I was watching it. I think there's that. Yeah. Ed Harris is in a couple scenes.
Yeah.
As a commanding officer.
Yeah.
And he's just like, we're sending you back. He's just like, sir, back to Top Gun.
And somebody else
so badass.
Somebody else that's in this movie that I think hasn't gotten a ton of mention is Glenn Powell.
Yeah. Oh, he's also one of the NASA. He's running one of the missions in Apollo 10.5.
Oh, okay, cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
But
he did a great job too, kind of taking over the Iceman role.
Him and Jonathan Majors did another movie that I think just came out too. I think it's called Devotion, and it's also I think it's a World War II fighter pilot movie that he's in with Jonathan Majors. Look pretty good.
Glenn Powell fits well into those roles.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to see more of him in movies coming out in the future.
I thought all the minor cast did a great job in this one.
Yeah.
It's hard to find anything negative to say about Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah. All right. So,
I guess if you're if you absolutely can't stand Tom Cruise, you're not going to enjoy this movie.
I don't know about that because I don't usually like Tom Cruise very much, and I loved this movie. It was so great. I think the theater experience definitely did it for me. But let's move on. I think my camera's gonna start running out of battery soon. So let's get.
So your number 2.
My number 2 is on your list. We haven't gotten to it yet. They don't line up, unfortunately, Pat. Close, but no cigar. My number 2 is my favorite movie theater going experience of the year, and that would be Avatar 2: The Way of Water. Such an amazing, immersing movie. I don't know if that's immersing. Immersive.
Yeah.
Immersive. There we go. Immersive movie. I do think the story is better than the first one now that I've had some time to think about it a little bit more. Even though they're still kind of tropey elements of the storytelling, it is better than the first. People just talk about Avatar 1 as being like Fern Gully or Dances with Wolves Part 2, and like I can't say that about this one. I don't have like it's a Dances with, because then it's like it's a Dances with Wolves meets like Free Willy meets like 5 other movies, and
right.
It was just such a great movie going experience. I was so glad that you decided to go see it because
I am so glad I did too.
I've had to talk people into this movie. My mom finally was like, "Yeah, I'll go see it." I'm not going to push her to go see it, but she was like, "Fine, I'll go see it." And you were.
This was my number 1, and for good reason.
Well, go for it. Let's talk
this movie blew me away visually. I like the audio, everything.
Yes.
Like they did what I think the first one kind of needed, where they got rid of the subtitles.
Yeah, that was great. They start you off very much like in the whole like narrated opening from Jake. It's just like he's talking about like, I picked up the language so much, it's like I'm listening to English now. And then the rest of the movie, it's all in English. And
other films have done that to some success as well. Like I think the another Tom Cruise one, Valkyrie.
Yeah, where they're all German.
Where they're speaking German at the beginning and then it goes into English.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, this, man. You told me about it, and I was like, okay, Avatar. It's like, all right, sweet. And the CG is going to be incredible.
Yeah.
But it was beyond my expectations.
It's such a fun movie.
So much fun, and also so much heart, too. You're really rooting for these characters.
There's been a number of movies on our lists today. Let's see. The Batman is like 3 hours. We've talked about Babylon a handful of times. For a lot of movies that are starting to push over the 3-hour limit, this was the one movie that I'm like, I didn't feel that 3 hours as much as like even the Batman. I'll give people the Batman. It's maybe a little slow here or there. Maybe could have cut 5-10 minutes here or there. Avatar, I do think they probably could have cut, but did I need them to? Not at all. Not at all.
In fact, I kind of wanted more.
That's the other thing is coming out of this movie, I just was ready for the sequel already. Like let's go. Let's get that. Let's get that. Give it to me.
Agreed. Yeah, it's sad that we're gonna have to wait a couple years to see a sequel because this one was just so damn good.
Yeah. The cast is great. I think this is maybe some of the best Sam Worthington I've seen in a while, and I was watching Clash of the Titans the other night.
Oh yeah, and then like there's some backstory with that too, where he had some issues with alcohol and just not really knowing his place in Hollywood. I think he's popped up. He's been working, but we haven't really seen him too much.
I was not aware of his troubles. That's good to know that it seems like he's worked through some of them.
Yeah.
Back to this big franchise. Because, I mean, again, going back to the franchise conversation, I'm so happy that I have a new... I mean, it's not technically new, but, like, now that the second one's finally out 13 years later, like, we do actually have a new franchise. A new science fiction franchise that isn't Marvel or Star Wars or, the other ones that I've mentioned before, Fast and the Furious.
And it honestly blows some of those away.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Big and beautiful, and man, you can't say enough good about this movie.
Zoe Saldana has some like really great moments. as an actress in this too. She
does, yeah, some very emotional scenes.
I think she gets slightly undercut in this movie because there's so much going on. Excuse me.
With the kids.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of new characters. There's like 4 kids. There's the villains. There's all this stuff going on, and she doesn't have as much time on screen, but she still kills it. Oh, hold on. Keep going. My camera is dying. I'm just gonna switch out the battery.
I completely agree. They really didn't utilize her that much until the end, but she was there, filling that motherly role.
Absolutely.
And I think just giving this movie, that Jake, the story that Jake has a family now.
Yeah.
Like that just changes things up. Yeah. And makes it so much more relatable.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the things about the first one, like I remember somebody was like, he yells a lot in that first movie. Well, him yelling a lot in this movie makes sense because he's a dad now. Kids give you a reason to yell.
I know that's certainly true in my family.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard your dad at a normal volume. Damn it, Patrick! Andrew!
Yes.
Yeah, so Avatar it was such a great experience. You had to have seen this in the theater. If you get an opportunity to.
And in 3D. The 3D was on point.
There's not many 3D movies that I recommend to people. I don't even, I stopped seeing movies in 3D, I don't know, 7-8 years ago at this point.
Yeah. Where the fad kind of died down.
Yeah, but this movie is made for 3D, and it was really good. Really, I the only other time I enjoyed watching 3D as much was when the first Avatar came out.
There you go. There have been a handful of other movies too that utilized it pretty well.
Yes, Coraline. I really like seeing Coraline, the stop motion one. Henry Selick. There's some really cool scenes that work really well for me in 3D there. But yeah, most 3D stuff, I don't care. If I'm gonna go see a big Marvel movie or something, just give me the standard def. I'll go.
Or IMAX.
Yeah, IMAX, sure. But yeah, 3D is just. It's been one of those things where I'm like, 3D is not gonna catch on until they start doing glasses list 3D. Because having to put glasses on to watch a movie kind of sucks. But I did not.
I didn't feel any of the motion sickness that people associate with 3D.
Yeah.
In this one.
Same. I was just about to say something similar. Of this 3D was smooth. The only time it bothered me, and it's mostly because I don't wear glasses, was having the pressure of the glasses on my head.
Yeah, just the standard uncomfortable.
Around the temple, just a little bit. But that has nothing to do with the movie. It's just the design of those glasses, I think. But, so that's my number 2, and that's your number 1, Pat, right?
That is my number 1. Man, yeah, how could it not be?
It was such a good movie. And, again, I do think Avatar and Top Gun are the two, you have to see those in theaters. I know Top Gun's
certainly
already out, but
yeah,
those movies were made for the theater. All right, well, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna do my.
I know what your number 1 is now. I realized.
Yeah, I know.
A minute ago.
Do my drum roll.
Yeah, you need a more dramatic drum roll.
Yeah, I definitely I need to figure out how to quickly get to that second bank of sound effects, because I still have a whole nother 8 sound effects I can load into this thing, I think. Anyways, all right, my number 1 is Weird, the Al Yankovic, the Al Yankovic movie. This movie is. I'm not going to sit here and tell you this is the best movie ever made. This movie is my favorite movie, mostly for nostalgia reasons, because not mostly. I love Weird Al. I don't talk about him very much. I'm not an outwardly big Weird Al fan much anymore. That was my first concert when I was a kid, was Weird Al at the Oxnard Performing Arts Center, and I've just always appreciated Weird Al quite a bit. And then I heard this movie was coming out earlier in the year, starring Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter himself, as Weird Al, and I was like, what?
Sign me up. Yeah.
I was like, there's two reactions. Like, they're doing a Weird Al movie? Hell yeah. Like, let's go. And then the second thought was like, and Harry Potter's playing? It didn't connect at first, but then I started seeing like set photos and stuff like that, or I think it was promotional photos, and Daniel Radcliffe was absolutely the right choice for this movie. So don't go into it expecting a straight up like biopic. This is a completely it's not completely fictionalized, but it is massively fictionalized version of Weird Al. I recommend this movie to everybody. If you're looking for just a funny ass movie to watch, it's hilarious, and there's some really great scenes. How do I put this? There's a scene that has to do with a vision he sees, and it's him busting out of an egg shirtless, covered in like oil, like ripping it on guitar. It is the best scene. It is so fucking awesome. Daniel Radcliffe is in this as Weird Al, and then hold on, let me pull my IMDb page real quick so I can go off the cast list for you guys.
This was one of my first records. Weird Al was one of my first records I bought. I remember buying I was in maybe like 5th grade, and I picked up the one that had it was a parody of the Nevermind cover.
Oh yeah.
And it had like Al going after a donut.
Yeah. Oh man, I had so many Weird Al records. Alapalooza was, I think, one of my first like 3
That's the Jurassic
CDs.
Park one, right?
Yeah. That was, I think, one of my first 3 CDs that I owned, along with actually 2. I think it was that one and Daft Punk's Homework. Were my first 2
great
CDs.
selection. Yeah.
So yeah, the cast list: Daniel Radcliffe is Weird Al, Diedrich Bader's the narrator, Lin-Manuel Miranda's in it, Rainn Wilson is Dr. Demento, Toby Huss. He's
great.
He pops up sometimes in like super dramatic roles and sometimes very silly roles, but him being in this movie was an extra bit of wonderful for me.
Yeah, he played a big role on the show *Halt and Catch Fire*.
Oh, okay.
The AMC show. Yeah, that one was great.
So he's Artie, the strongest man in the world from Pete and Pete. If anybody watched that show, Artie, the strongest man in the world was one of my favorites from that show.
And he was played by Toby Huss?
Yeah, that's Toby Huss who plays him.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He goes way back to the old Pete and Pete days. Even before that, I don't know his career full, but yeah, he was on Pete and Pete. Thomas Lennon from Dangle from Reno 911. He pops up in this movie. Weird. They don't even have her listed here on IMDb. Is it? I always fuck it up. Is it Evan Rachel Wood or is it Rachel Evan Wood?
Yeah, Evan Rachel Wood.
Evan Rachel Wood plays Madonna in this movie, and it's so weird she's not on the IMDb like main cast list because
maybe she's uncredited.
She plays a big role in this movie, so it'd be weird. Hold on, pulling up the whole cast and crew. Dude, yeah, she's not listed. There's so many people that pop up that it's great. Like Will Forte, Weird Al actually pops up in this. Dimitri Martin. Oh yeah, dude, there's a whole scene where he goes to a party and there's all these like 80s celebrities there that are played by modern celebrities. And like Jorma from Lonely Island.
Oh yeah.
He plays Pee-wee in that scene. Pee-wee Herman. It's just it's so good. Like Pee-wee, Tiny Tim, Gallagher, Alice Cooper, Andy Warhol. They're all like celebrities that pop up in this scene. But yeah, so this movie was just something I was not expecting. Unfortunately, I think the only place that it is airing is on the Roku channel, which I don't know how many people use Roku channel.
Yeah.
I happen to have a Roku TV, so I have access to it.
That worked out. That was serendipitous.
Yeah, very serendipitous. But I also I looked on to see if it was out on like not IMDb, but like iTunes, because Pat, I sometimes cruise through iTunes to see if there's like box sets or movie bundles or stuff that I'm interested in, and it's not listed there at all. I think it's only on the Roku channel, which is kind of a bummer for a lot of people, because I think it's gonna miss out on enough people seeing it by being in such a weird place. But this is my favorite movie of the year. It is a lot of nostalgia for like the character, for the people involved, but across the board, it was just a really funny movie. I was into it the whole time, and it's definitely going to be like a yearly rewatch movie for me. Which that was one of the things that I thought about. For me, a good movie, particularly one that goes into a top 10 list for me, is something that I think I'm going to rewatch. Maybe more than once, too. And the Weird Al movie is going to be something like what we were talking about with Big Trouble in Little China. It's like, if that movie's on, you watch it. It doesn't matter where you start. But yeah, so this is my number one. This is my number one. Huzzah.
There we go. We did it.
Let's do a quick recap, Pat. What is your 10? What is
number 10 was Confess Fletch with John Hamm.
Mm-hmm. What's your just go
number
through your
9?
List.
Yeah, I'll go through my list real quick. Number 9 is Apollo 10.5.
Okay.
Number 8, Jordan Peele's Nope. Number 7, we had Glass Onion. Number 6, All Quiet on the Western Front. Number 5, Bullet Train. Number 4, The Batman. Number 3, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Number 2, Top Gun Maverick. And number 1, Avatar: The Way of Water.
Awesome. That's a great list. There's definitely some I haven't seen on there, but all the ones that I have seen most of them are duplicates on my list too. So, my 10 from 10 down to 10 is The Northman. Number 9 is Wendell and Wild. Number 8 is Glass Onion. Number 7, The Fabelmans. Number 6, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio on Netflix. Number 5 is Everything Everywhere All at Once. Number 4 is Top Gun Maverick. Number 3, The Batman. Number 2, Avatar: The Way of Water. And number 1, Weird, the Al Yankovic Story.
Yeah. All right, well, I am sad that I couldn't make it in person for this list.
Oh, it's okay.
Got some laughs. I got some laughs. Like, we want to see Pat sick.
Oh, Pat.
You can see some snot coming out of my nose. Real overall quick, pretty miserable.
Just tell me, like, oh man, I feel like shit. Like, I don't know if I can even come on your show anymore. Just give me something like that.
Like what? What did you want?
Oh, just lean into like being uber sick.
Yeah. I just got sweat dripping off my face, but I knew I had to make it. I had to make it for this year-end list. And here we are. We did it. We got through TV shows. We got through albums. We got through movies. All with fart noises aplenty.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, I'm bummed that you couldn't make it, but I'm glad that you took some time off work.
Yes, it was much needed. I probably could have used today also.
Yeah.
It was pretty miserable.
Well, I think that's it, Pat. Thanks for calling in. This was important to get your top 10 because we do. You're kind of like the unofficial co-host of the show.
Yeah, I pop up here and there,
like every other week,
and I will continue to pop up here and there.
Well,
in 2023.
Good. When you said I'll continue to pop up here, all I could think about was Mario Party, that one, the whack-a-mole game.
Oh God. Yeah. You should have been placed higher in that Mario Party game that we played the other day.
Whatever. I mean,
you crushed it in a lot of games.
In the very beginning, I like super crushed it, and I was like way ahead. And then Andrew like fucked me, and then
it was all downhill from there.
Yeah, it was all downhill. I got stars like just straight stolen from me.
Yeah, that was screwed.
I should have filed a police report.
Agreed. Next time you will.
Yeah.
I got that game. Yeah, I purchased that game for my brother.
Nice.
At his house.
Has he played it yet?
Not yet. No, he hasn't picked it up yet. It actually came in after Christmas, sadly.
Gotcha. Well.
All right. Well, I should get going, but gotta wish everybody a happy New Year. Be safe out there.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. I'll let you get going. You go take care of yourself. Go watch some more movies because we're gonna do it.
Looks like we will.
We're gonna do
probably
another.
What's gonna happen?
We're gonna do another top 10 tomorrow.
Yeah, and none of your top 10 from today can carry over.
All new.
Yeah. I don't know if I can do that, but we'll see.
All right, Pat. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
I'll give you a call. I'll give you a call tomorrow, or text me tomorrow or something.
All right, sounds good.
All right, later.
Peace.
All right, so that was our top 10 lists of 2022. Yeah, go back and check out the top 10 TV shows and records, or top 5 records. That we did over the last couple of weeks. I'm going to get going because it's time for me to do so because we've almost done 2 hours today, which is crazy. I had to switch out the battery, which is, I think, the first time I've done that. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for joining me for the end of the year. I'm going to be back on Monday. I'm coming back on Monday, 6 p.m. Monday. Next week, I'm going to try to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just because. So, yeah, catch me outside. Picture me rolling. I didn't do any commercials or anything today, so don't forget to check out wilddinosaur.com. It's the best place to support this channel. I've got all kinds of merch. I'm trying to work on new stuff to get new prints and stuff up there, so hopefully people have new things to check out. But the other thing I like to do is, don't forget there's a link in the description to donate to Planned Parenthood, because I do think that is a huge thing to support, especially in the United States of America. Our healthcare is insanely dumb, and try to help out the institutions that help us out, and Planned Parenthood is one of them. So anyways, what was I going to say? I had something else I was going to say. A 2-hour episode. That's crazy. Yeah, I'll be back on Monday. Oh, Happy New Year. And I will see, I'll see you guys. When do you think I'm going to see you? Do you think I'm going to see you probably, I don't know, next year? Probably. I'll see you next year. Have a good weekend and a good rest of your 2022. Bye.